Timer's
All right, I think we're live.
We're live and ready to go. So I will pass over to Juan, Chain Patrol's partnership and growth lead, to introduce our first pilot episode.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for joining this. Thanks Nikita. Thanks Wimi. Great to have you both here. This is the first Hot Takes Cold Wallex session that we are having here at Chain Patrol Live X account. So we are really, really happy to welcome you all to this. As part of this session, we are going to be speaking, of course, of hot topics around crypto security, around crypto in general. So we'll have like a lot of information that we're going to share in here. We're also about to start that Connect week, so it will be exciting to meet you all there. Chain Patrols will be having their own security event. We'll speak about that in a second as well. So yeah, we'll be having like a really, really big week ahead of us, and we're really happy to showing with you all, chat, talk about crypto in general. So yeah, excited for that. So I will kick things off here. Thanks, Nikita. Thanks, Wimi, again for joining here. I will pass it over to Wimi for the first topic of the night. Wimi, that is in Germany right now. So yeah, first of all, how are you doing, Wimi?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for the intro, Juan. Hi, everyone, to everyone who I never met in my Web3 life before. I'm Wimi. I'm an ambassador for Chain Patrol, and I've been doing Web3 security content for 4 years now. So happy to join this roundtable topic side of things. And I think we're going to introduce Nikita first before we go into any topics. Do we?
Yeah, thanks. And actually, way back when we were starting Chain Patrol years ago, I actually saw your content like many years ago and started kind of following that. There was kind of like a tight-knit group of like security people back then, that were all kind of really educating users. And now that's really been helping a lot in the space, as new people are coming in, protecting them from all the scams, the phishing, the impersonators. So yeah, it's really great that we're working together now. And myself, Nikita, I'm the co-founder, CEO of Chain Patrol. Started Chain Patrol when we were seeing just how many users are getting hit by scams and phishing in the crypto space, all the wallets that are getting drained. And our goal really is that we want to get to a spot where, crypto is just safe for everybody to use. It's safe for our families. It's safe for the average person. You don't need to be as concerned or like afraid when you're, self custody, or even when you're using centralized exchanges. You can still be a target of phishing and all these kinds of attacks. And so, it's been quite a journey. We were protecting a ton of companies right now, taking down and block listing lots of scams on the internet. And so excited to talk about a couple of things today. We can start with, I think, we can talk about DevConnect. We're actually a lot of our team is flying out to Argentina tomorrow, and this is going to be a really special moment. Actually, Chain Patrol, one of the very first conferences we went to was actually DevCon in Colombia like 3 years ago. And so this is going to be kind of a return to Latin America, to South America. And it's going to be, a really, really good time, because back then we were just like founders that started, and now, we're a whole team. We're a force in the space. And yeah, just meeting lots of customers there, meeting lots of new potential companies that we can help protect. We'll be speaking at some of the events. We'll be hosting our own events. But what we can maybe talk about is just like, security at these crypto conferences as well. Some things that we can do to stay safe. Maybe some advice on traveling and these kinds of areas. I'll pass to you, Wimi, if you want to speak a little bit about, just thoughts around what are some of the things that we should do to get kind of, travel ready. I remember back in that DevCon 3 years ago, people were literally talking about, people getting jumped outside the airport and this kind of stuff. These people were, wearing lots of crypto swag, I would say, and making it very obvious that they have funds and money. So maybe some tips on what you can do. A lot of us are traveling to crypto conferences around the world. Like, what can we do to stay safe?
Yeah, so as you just started, Nikita, I think that crypto merge is something that you want to keep it low. Maybe you want to keep it on a down low, especially like if you are holding Bored Ape Yacht Club tokens, etc., and you're just rocking your swagger and you're just walking through the streets of an unknown city for you. This kind of makes you a target even for people who don't know much about crypto, because as you can think of, like Bored Ape Yacht Club, for example, or Pudgy Penguins, even they are some kind of recognizable. Even for people who are not very into crypto, they know Bitcoin, they know Ethereum, they know Bored Ape Yacht Club, they heard of Pudgy Penguins before, CryptoPunks, of course, too. So this is something that I personally would avoid. What you should be avoiding as well is that you don't want to give out too much information when it comes to photos, which means that if you are, for example, staying at a venue, right, and you're taking a photo, please take the time and post that photo after you left the venue and not when you are there
that's a
still.
good one. That's a very good one.
Because like you're just making it easier for people to track you and follow you around. If you're just like posting, hey, I'm at the beach now, hey, I'm at this clubhouse now, hey, I'm at my hotel room now, and like even give away which hotel you're staying at or something that, or like a floor where you're staying at, this is something you want to avoid as well, because like room service is something that is common. But like room service, if you gave away all the information at which hotel you are staying and which floor you are staying, can be something that you don't expect it to be. So they are paying a private visit for you maybe, and they are not trying to do you any good. And then what I would personally avoid is I wouldn't bring like any like big wallets with big holdings in them. Like the valuable assets, leave them at home, because usually when you are at conferences, you do not do any, I don't know, like any trust trades or any sales or whatever during that time. So maybe have a burner wallet or whatever. Don't have like any large holdings on your phone if you're using a mobile wallet. Most people do that. I hate mobile wallets, to be honest, but I know a lot of people do. And then there's something which is common as juice jacking, I think, which is basically when you're using a random charger, like at the airport, at some kind of hotel revenue, hallway, etc., where they can just like inject data into your device or your phone. And there are like gadgets where you can like block the lane for basically the data lane for the data cables, but just avoid like public chargers and stuff like that. Bring your own power banks, etc., if you want to.
Even public Wi-Fi, right, on that to that end is like it's gotten better, I would say, but it's still definitely a risk. There's a lot of now travel sims that you can get that are quite good, honestly. Like you probably don't even need to connect to like public Wi-Fi almost at all with how good the coverage is nowadays. And what you were talking about, not revealing your location until you've already left, it's very important. I mean, even for founders of prominent companies, or just if you're like a known whale in the ecosystem, this kind of stuff. We've seen, in France, the attacks on the kidnappings of like founders and attacks on them. In other countries, this is happening a lot as well. So, we need to be, if you have a certain public presence and people know who you are, they know you're in the crypto space, you need to have certain, protections in place around where you are, make sure that's not easy to like live track your location. Even when going between events, they sometimes give you like those badges, you put them on yourself, that to certain people that can be a giveaway as well, right? So you can take off like the little sticker as you move around. Just little things like that will probably make you like less of an easy target. And look, it's not that it's highly likely to happen, right? We might also be like I don't want to start like kind of spreading fear around this. Generally, this doesn't happen, right? Like I've been walking between all sorts of events on all sorts of different parts of every major city that we've traveled to, and everything has been good. But you need to have a good common sense, of where you're going, being aware of your surroundings, and then you're going to be fine, right? So but during DEF Connect, what I'm really excited for, there's going to be a couple of events going on. One where handling our own event with ourselves and Cantina and Kerberos. This is going to be really great. Quite a lot of security professionals will be out there, so I'm excited to meet with them as well. Lots of familiar faces, lots of companies that we've been collaborating with. And that's something we really want to build more in the space, right? Is this collaborative approach to security. We can maybe talk about this a little bit, but what we've been really seeing is that I think something unique to the crypto space is many companies and security researchers are very willing to collaborate, work together, find ways to exchange data. There's honestly so many problems to solve in the whole security space. And we're finding that a lot of companies that, initially there's a little bit of like, are you my competitor? Can we work together? We're actually seeing that, a lot of those walls are breaking down, and a lot of companies are finding value in collaboration. For example, we're working with different security auditors, different even transaction simulation providers, and they're like, wait, don't you guys hunt the phishing scams and they also hunt the phishing scams? Yes, but in completely different ways, right? We focus on impersonation, brand protection. They focus on the broader scanning of wallet drainers and things that might not be impersonating an individual company, but just more general wallet drainers being used to target users. And so there's lots of work to go around. Maybe you can, if you want to chime in here, as like if you've seen some collaborations in the space happening, some interesting other maybe people you want to shout out that are in the security space on X or others that you think are doing good work, and maybe we can even bring them onto the show.
Yeah, man. Honestly, I have to shout out Roscoe Callis, like the
Yeah.
founder of Revoke.cash. He opened like the gates for me to be full-time in Web3, and therefore I have to give him a huge shout out because he has been like one man armying this whole Revoke.cash thing. And if you ever come to meet Roscoe, I know he's in Argentina as well. He's like a down-to-earth guy. He's always humble. He's always down to talk problems, etc., exchange ideas. And this is what I like admire about him, not only about him, but also about the collaboration we have at Chain Patrol, for example, because I found that security is like a common goal. We have a shared goal in mind, and everyone is trying to provide some bricks to get the foundation stronger every day. And this is what it's super important. So everyone is bringing like different aspects into the game and into the mix. And this is like, it's why I am still around in Web3 and Web3 security, honestly, because it's like my main goal is to be in a safer space, safer environment, especially if we get mass adoption one day. So that is like my ultimate driver. But maybe, Mikita, I can kick it back a question that was in the chat from, I think, Peely Roberts is his name. Would you suggest using RFID pouches to block scanners, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely useful. I mean, that's useful even just for the regular, not to mention like crypto kind of scams, but even the old, they just scan your credit card, right? Like, this is something that has been used for quite a while, and like RFID pouches or just like wallets that you wear that protect your credit card and other details is definitely quite helpful. We've seen it, really useful for both like preventing like somebody just putting an unwanted charge on your credit card, especially because right now like a lot of people have really high limits. They can just like walk by, swipe it, 500, 1K, more sometimes, depending on your limits, and this kind of stuff can be stolen quick. In terms of tapping your wallets, honestly most mobile wallets don't really have too much with you tap and they trigger a transaction or something else like that. So I think more wallets actually should implement that. That'll be a nice UX, but actually the fact that they don't have it is a little bit of a layer of security in some ways. So I think it's definitely something you should take a look at. But honestly, again, like the main point is that like you should not be traveling with a wallet that has a ton of funds in. If you're at risk of somebody scanning this, they could just do simpler stuff like a pickpocket or something else like that. Then like no level of RFID protection is going to save you if they literally have your physical device, right? So you still have to be careful around this. And I would say don't travel, obviously, with your seed phrase or all this other stuff, because if they have that, doesn't matter what tech protections are in place, right? That's it. They have your master password. And so, yeah, that's that's a few pieces there. And I mean, there's as we were talking about like collaboration in the space, there's a lot of people like you mentioned like Roscoe, Revoke Cash. Like this is something that's a good idea to go try out. They've been around forever, and honestly one of the most like core useful services, just removing leftover permits that you have, and anything that can be potentially draining your wallet in the future. That's a really important thing too, right? Is even if you let's say you misplaced your a ledger for a little while, or you have a suspicion that somebody may have acquired your seed phrase. You're not quite sure. Maybe like, I don't know, you left it in the open, and then somebody came to clean your room, and you realize like, oh no, I like left this thing I left like whatever, my piece of paper with it out in the open, or just somewhere in a drawer, which you saw the drawer got cleaned. Honestly, like you need to start thinking about taking steps right away. It's stuff like Revoke Cash can help, but like especially if you have a suspicion that your seed phrase is compromised, there are now services that actually enable you to bulk move your funds over at once. Because what happens oftentimes is, even if a smaller wallet is compromised, or if the scammer sees there's not a lot of funds in your wallet, they will often start just watching your wallet, because it's not worth for them to steal like $500 or even $2,000. They'll just leave that there, right? They will wait and see like, will you ever mess up and maybe deposit a larger amount of funds in there? Maybe you, I don't know, received a large airdrop. Maybe you decided, oh, I need to go purchase something, so you move some funds out of your cold wallet into your hot wallet to go, I don't know, make a big trade or something else like that, right? They now can watch this on chain very simply and wait to make the transaction until you have actually moved the funds in. The moment like funds go in, they see, oh, okay, the moment there's over 10K in this wallet, move all the funds out, right? You have $100 in there, nothing's going to happen to them, but that doesn't mean this wallet is safe. So it's really important to one, do those revoking those permissions, but two is also understanding that if you even have suspicion that your seed phrase was in a compromised place, you should probably take the time to just move things over to a fresh setup. So yeah, there's just some thoughts around this. And there's going to be a lot more, I think, advice that people can get from DeFi Security Summit. This is another event that's going to be happening during DevConnect. One of my favorites, honestly. They run it every DevCon and every DevConnect. And this is going to be towards the end of the week. And it's where all the security researchers get together. They post a lot of the videos online. There's a lot of stuff there on like smart contract auditing, on personal security. We're going to be talking about how to protect yourself from phishing and these kinds of areas. And so yeah, there's going to be a lot of good talks there. So yeah, I'm excited for that to go out. We're also going to be on that topic. We can maybe go a little bit about our recent partnership with Phantom. They just posted this. They just posted some of the good news online on Twitter. And so we're in a position where basically we're now working with Phantom to protect their brand and to protect their their users as well from these kinds of scams, these phishing attacks. Because a lot of users do get targeted by this. You get the fake airdrop link, you get the fake, somebody reaches out to you on X or on Telegram. They're like, I have like this over-the-counter deal I can do, but you need to go here to confirm your participation. And then, obviously they're all in the end just trying to get you to a drainer. And something that we've been working with them and, other wallets as well on is blocklisting, not only for malicious transactions, but also things like sites that try to steal your seed phrase, sites that try to download some malware. Because what we're seeing is transaction simulation is a very important part of the stack, but it's not the only way people get compromised. And one of the highest volumes of funds stolen is still due to stolen seed phrases. So, and that's really two categories. One, people just give up their seed phrase because they don't realize what they're doing. They think they're on the official site somewhere and they need to just put in their seed phrase, which they're used to doing. Or it's malware, right? Like you're actually staying mostly secure, but you don't realize, some tool you downloaded or something else you're using is actually compromised your machine, and now, your seed phrase has been stolen. But yeah, maybe Pasti, like we can talk maybe about like some advice if you have about protecting your own wallet, how to check, if you're actively out there looking for different like airdrops, maybe you're actively just participating in certain like dexes or others, and you're excited about like points or awards you're getting. Like, what are some of the things you can do around really navigating the space more safely? And just any advice for the average user there?
Yeah, so the first thing is that you probably want to get one of these, which are hardware wallets with the Weemy
Nice.
branding. So don't mind the brand here, but it's like a Weemy branded one. So a hardware wallet, like in the support tickets we have for Revoke.cash, I actually like can confirm that like I think that 80% maybe of the cases we see in the Revoke.cash Discord are like probably malware or compromised seed phrases. People do not even realize that the seed phrase is compromised, and then we tell them, and then they are still saying like, no, this can't be the issue. And then we're telling them, hey, did you download anything lately, like some kind of software that you were experimenting with, etc. And the question that we always ask is obviously like, do you use a hardware wallet? Because we know if someone uses a hardware wallet, the chances are less likely that they infected themselves with malware. I mean, there's still a chance if they get like their device infected and that they have like a digital backup of their seed phrase on the device, etc. So there are ways to get infected by malware if you still have like photos of your seed phrase on your device.
Yeah.
But if you're using like a hardware wallet in a sense that it's meant to be used, like you're having your seed phrase backed up offline, you only use the hardware wallets for the certain things, then it's kind of not impossible, but it's kind of impossible to get compromised with the hardware wallet. And the answer always is, no, I didn't use a hardware wallet. And then we always know, okay, now we got probably malware in the mix, because this is like, it can come in so many occasions. It can come, like, as I said, as in form of software you just downloaded, pirated software, a game you were pitched on X in DMs to test out. It can be like this verification check that we've seen lately on the websites where you had like the Cloudflare tick box.
Yeah.
You tick the box and then it asked you to like, hey, we have an additional verification step. You now want to open your Windows and R and run your command line and then paste in the code. Please don't ever do that, because you're downloading malware.
Going around,
and they don't know what they're doing, right? They don't know what they're doing actually in that right given moment. They think they're actually like verifying, and then they found out, hey, my wallet has been drained. I've been stolen. I don't know, like 1K, 5K, 10K, whatever. And we have them to explain to them, even if it doesn't have anything to do with Revoke, we have to explain to them, hey, you got probably compromised by like a fake authentication, etc. So hardware wallets, if you start with crypto, please do get a hardware wallet. They start at, I don't know, $50, $100 nowadays. So if you invest in crypto, please start out with a hardware wallet, even if it's like a hassle to begin with. But it makes sure that you are basically not prone to malware.
Yep.
And then like use like a proper backup system for your seed phrase. Please do not rely on paper only. Metal
and
backups.
Definitely no photos. Well, one thing I wanted to actually highlight is that the thing that you mentioned is some people, sometimes they think, well, it's not written down, in my notepad or whatever, and I just have a photo of it and it's buried deep in some folder, so that photo is really hard to find. Your entire computer will be scanned, and they like image recognition is really good now. They will go through there, they extract all the text out of the images, and they will find what looks like a seed phrase. So, your seed phrase being stored in a photo somewhere does not add like any layer of security to that. It really needs to be off of your device, in a physical kind of spot that you can actually, really only access as a physical human being. And so
fun fact, Nikita, I once had someone told me that he stored a copy of a seed phrase in his Snapchat.
Oh no.
And I was like, yeah, you got the issue now.
Yeah.
There's one way I like to think security. I would like to know your opinion on this as well. is to think like in different layers, right? Like you can have like your layer of hardware wallet, and that's like one way to protect yourself. And then you can start thinking on different ways. And actually, and also to bring like another topic here to discuss about, is a lot of people actually don't use DeFi wallets, also wallets in general. Like they don't know what it is, like a mobile wallet, Trust wallet, MetaMask. They don't know what to do about that. They haven't never downloaded anything. They have, of course, they don't have like any hardware wallets, even if there's like something that we can recommend. But rather than that, they use centralized exchanges, right? So I'm curious to know like what opinion on what is that what we can do to protect ourselves with logging in like in centralized exchanges. I know, and also to bring this up, I know that it has been like a YubiKey issue, and YubiKey usually is something recommended when you have like different sessions on centralized exchanges, like to store your password and actually to provide like your factor of authentication with that. So yeah, first we'd love to know your opinion about like how is the best way to protect ourselves if we have like an account in any centralized exchange. And number two, what happened with YubiKey and Twitter?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely a couple things. One is like centralized exchanges are targeted by phishing a ton. First of all, the volume of funds on centralized exchanges versus self-custody is like something like 10x higher, if not more. Like if you look at the volume, there's just a lot more money actually in crypto on centralized exchanges than there is in self-custody. What this means that is there's a lot more money to target, and the attackers will go where there's money to steal. Can they steal literally everything all at once? Typically no. There is a little bit of a benefit over if all your funds are in one seed phrase, they get that seed phrase, everything's gone, right? If it's a centralized exchange, it's a bit different. They do have a bit more protections, like withdrawal limits, this kind of stuff in there, which is definitely good. But we are still seeing funds, users getting compromised, getting phished. This is more the traditional phishing, right? Where they go, they make maybe a fake login page. You think you're just logging into your, your exchange account, and actually just gave the your username and password over to the scammer, right? So if you're using only password-based auth, like very easy to phish you. All they need is their password and that's it. And that can be done in so many different ways. They usually will try to trick you or like scare you into something. You might get a scary email saying like, your account has been compromised. Go here immediately. And you need to relog in to verify your identity. And what you think is a security alert is the attack actually, right? You think you're doing something to protect yourself. And if you're in a moment of panic, you're actually giving the attacker all the funds. So one is just like any like alert, any sense of urgency. Again, like there's generally not anything too urgent that you have to do within seconds or minutes. Like always pause to think about what you need to do. And then of course there's the two-factor stuff, and there's all these other areas. It is a bit trickier because sometimes even if you have two-factor authentication, depending how the auth is set up, this is how for a while I think Discord compromises and some old X compromises were happening, is that sometimes they can steal like your session in some ways, and so it's not like they've permanently hacked your account, but they have access to it long enough till your session expires, which can be a couple of hours to a couple of days, and they can still do tons of damage during this time. And so yeah, we're in a position there where basically, yeah, you need two-factor authentication, and you really need to be in a place where it's either YubiKey or your authenticator, and just make sure not to use phone-based 2FA, because then you're open up to SIM swapping. Yeah, maybe Wimi, you could talk a little bit about what's going on with YubiKeys and the whole X situation. For a quick thing, like basically as we went from Twitter to X, we now are in a spot where they actually have a need to update your YubiKeys, and actually we're seeing people getting locked out of their accounts and this kind of stuff going on X because of this transition. We're actually supporting some companies with this right now, but yeah, maybe if you've seen any issues coming up with people that you've supported.
I lost my ethos streak because of this yesterday.
Damn.
but I got it restored, so that's fine.
Nice.
So what they basically did was, if I understand it correctly, was they changed the links to x.com instead of twitter.com. And
Yeah.
therefore you had to re-enroll your YubiKeys for the authentication part. And you basically were prompted to re-enroll your YubiKey, but you couldn't because you got stuck in a loop if you tried to. And then you were just like trying to access the account. You couldn't because you couldn't update the YubiKey, and you
Yeah.
cannot go back to the old YubiKey access anymore. So they were just trying to basically get into the login and trying to log in because they were locked out basically of the account and couldn't log in anymore because the old one was not working anymore, and the new one was not working because the loop got stuck.
Yeah.
And I think like Nikita Beer posted this early morning German time or European time, I think like at 9 a.m. or something like that, that they like re-rolled the intro, so that everyone should be able to access that now.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Basically it was like you were doxxed for using YubiKeys. Like, hey, this person is super secure because they are now locked out of their account and they cannot access it anymore.
Yeah, it's you gotta, it's always a challenge. You try to, with security, it's like you're putting a lot of locks into place, but then some of those can actually harm the user experience or sometimes cause these like unintended side effects. And it's why you have to be really careful about rolling out these kinds of features. I think it's great that they're doing it. There's definitely, some security improvements that are happening, just how that auth flow works. But yeah, I can imagine also there was probably, some people in receiving emails, like, oh, fix your YubiKey auth and this kind of stuff, right? Because anytime this kind of problem happens, the hackers, the scammers, they're very on top of it. They will right away send you like fake support tickets and this kind of stuff. So just to everybody out there, like, be careful, right? Like, again, whenever something is broken or something goes wrong, like, do not panic. The most important thing is like, do not panic. Think for yourself a little bit. Talk to your friends, talk to somebody that might be, have a little bit more security mindset and understanding what's going on before you do any sort of urgent actions, right? And so, with that, I think we can probably wrap up. Like, thanks, Wimi, thanks, Juan. We're going to be having quite a few more of these coming out. I think right now we're getting ready for DevConnect. We're going to be heading out there, spreading the good word, protecting people, onboarding more customers, onboarding more people, meeting all the teams we work with. Lots of them are now taking security very seriously. They want to protect their communities, protect their users. And so, our goal right now is just like, we're going to go out there and try to keep as many communities safe as we can. So thanks everybody. And we're going to wrap there.
Thank you. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.